town in Nashville as part of a celebration of free speech. You're receiving an award called the Spirit of Americana Award, presented by the Americana Music Association and the First Amendment Center. And, of course, as you know, the first recipient was Johnny Cash. Yeah. And it was a remarkable evening shortly before his death that he accepted the award. And one of the reasons, I was reading people's interpretations of why you're receiving the award, and the point was made that there are people out there who are at the left end of the spectrum, some people on the right end of the spectrum, but it's actually rare for somebody to publicly have an opinion now, to actually say what they believe and write songs with conviction and actually have their life's values, their convictions, and their art all merged together. And of course, you've done a lot of that throughout your career. There was a point, though, I think, when you became more politicized in your music, that where your early music was candid, sexually, had adult themes. You turned the corner at one point, and you began writing songs that were a little bit more in the face of people, a little bit more like Woody Guthrie in a lot of respects. What happened?
Well, a lot of things happened around 1979. Sandinistas had a revolution and overthrew the most brutal dictatorship in the hemisphere that we had supported. And there was the revolution in Iran as well. And I was doing a kind of a controversial TV movie called Amerika. And
spelled with a K.
With a K. And I was becoming aware of a lot of the things that were being done in our name that were not the principles that I was raised to believe America stood for. Particularly down in Nicaragua, where we had a real bad history of messing with their attempt. Right at the time, the Sandinista revolution was dedicated to really helping the people for the first time in the century, you know, of giving them free health, free education, and land reform. And it was the last part of it that got them in our crosshairs, that the land was being more equally distributed to the citizens of the country down there. But I went to Nicaragua. I sang at a human rights concert down in Mexico, and there was a Nicaraguan band down there, and the leader of it turned out to be one of Carlos Mejia Godoy's, one of the top songwriters down there, came up to me after the show and said he wanted to thank me for his country and in regard to them, for sticking up for them and saying what I was saying in some of the songs that I had sung. And I got an invitation to go down there, and I ended up going down 2 or 3 times, down to 4 times maybe. Visit the hospitals full of kids who's had their legs and arms blown off by the mines we were putting in, and finding out that the Contras that we were training, the terrorists that we were sending down there, were not attacking the Sandinista army, but were attacking the so-called soft targets, you know, the schools, the health facilities, and the agricultural co-ops. And it will radicalize you, you know, and it was definitely not a commercial move, as you said. It probably got me off of one record label, and might have got me off the air forever.
Oh, you had an album called Third World Warrior, which actually Don't Let the Bastards Get You Down is from, isn't it?
Yes.
And 2 questions. 1, did you feel like those songs would make a difference? And 2, what was the reaction of the record company? Was there an attempt to have you tone that message down?
They didn't say anything. They just didn't market it.
Nice.
And then when we tried to, Albinetta wanted to reissue it now, and I believe he's going to, but we couldn't find it anywhere. They said, it's disappeared. It's gone. I thought, geez, this sounds like the Kennedy assassination or something.
So was the music going to make a difference? Did you think people would hear those songs?
Well, you know, I don't know if it would make a difference. All I knew is it was the only thing I could do to make a difference, you know, and it was coming from the heart. And I was singing them on the road, and I was getting mixed reaction there, too. A woman came up to me after I sang that, "Don't Let the Bastard," and said, "I'll never listen to another song you write," because killing babies in the name of freedom, you know. And I think I asked her whether it was the song that upset her or the fact that we were doing it, you know. But I have no regrets about putting it out. I still think I can understand why they never played it on the air.
There's been some history in Nicaragua since then. Just for the record, what's your take on the Sandinistas now?
I think we eventually beat that revolution, not with the Contras and Oliver North and all that, but with money. And we bought an election and bought another one, you know, and the people voted with their stomachs, you know. They thought it was going to help them. Unfortunately, today they're the second poorest country in the hemisphere.
And I'm not here to debate, and you clearly know Nicaragua better than I do. What we did see, though, for a period was some civil rights abuses and some free speech and freedom of religion issues, and I would think that would be you know, it's really tough to embrace a new regime because you embrace them in their entirety.
I wasn't aware of any civil rights things. I knew that they had prison reform and that they did away with their death penalty and things that really mattered to the people down there.
Do you think that your political stands hurt your career?
Well, listen, who knows what hurts a career? You know, I remember when I put out The Third World Warrior, I read one review, I think it was in the USA Today, it said, "Surely he knows pigs will fly," before they play this on the air. But I can't think that anything hurt my career. I can't think of anything that I would have done differently because I'm pretty happy with my life the way it is right now. You know, I got a beautiful family, and I'm still able to do what I love for a living. You know.
Well, we focused on the music, but we cannot ignore the fact you've had a remarkable film and television career as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Amerika, which was a controversial show about if the Nazis had actually won World War II.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was trying to justify how that could have happened. That scenario where I think it was the Russians end up taking over, or the UN or somebody taking over the U.S. And I thought at the time, you know, it could only happen if the rest of the world finally got together and said, enough. Now, what's been going on lately could cause that. The rest of the world just finally just say, listen, you got no right to be the only superpower of the world going around where fighting anybody you want to in whatever name you want to call it, you know. I mean, they look at what we did in Iraq as terrorism, and it was state-sponsored terrorism, you know. I'm in an awkward position because I grew up in the Second World War, you know, and before, during, and after, and believing in God and honor and country, you know, and duty, and I still respect the troops. I just don't agree with the policy.
Our guest this week, Kris Kristofferson. Please join us again next week for Speaking.